Well, we're back to the second very short vodcast about classroom policies in Doherty's chemistry class. Please get the handout that you see here, but turn it to the back side so we can complete and initial the remaining policies. Now, testing can be kind of complex, but watch carefully so that you can understand all the policies that apply when you miss a test. Now, tests are always announced several days in advance. I don't give you any new material on the day before a test, and our testing days are normally Tuesday and block day as a backup. So pretend you were absent on Monday, but on the Friday before, I told you there was a test on Tuesday. If you're absent on Monday but return to class on Tuesday, you will be taking the test with your fellow students, unless, of course, this has been an extended absence. If you were absent on the day of an exam, you will take the exam when you come back to class. Again, unless you had an extended absence. And this can be problematic because you're also missing material that's happening in class that day as you're in the back room taking the test. So you need to avoid being absent on the day of a test. However, on C, unless you're really sick, of course, stay home, get better. But really do not be absent on the day of the test, and I'll explain why. So when you return to class, you have to test that day. Also, you're taking a different test than what the rest of the class took. It's not always the same test, and it covers the same material, but it's not going to be the same test that the others took, and you will not have the option of doing a test retake. I will explain that in just a moment. So don't be absent on the day of a test. Strategy sometimes kids employ not successfully is they figure, oh, I'm going to cut class. And I'm kind of an old cranky teacher, so I often look to see if you just missed my class that day. And I might actually go physically track you down. If you do that, you've got an automatic 0. But if you're not ready for a test, you take it anyway. And now I'm going to explain why this is one of the nice things that I do for you, because it can be really hard in chemistry. If you did take a test and you got a D or worse, not a C minus, but a D plus or worse, and this is only for exams, not quizzes, you are eligible for a test retake. I will explain the process of test corrections to you later on. You will do test corrections. You will take a similar test as a retake within 2 weeks of the original test date, and usually this happens during SMART period. And depending upon the grade that you get, this can only help you, it cannot hurt you. So if you got a D on the first test and you retook it and got a B or a C or even an A, it's whichever one is the higher grade that goes into the grade book. So see why cutting a test doesn't help you? You get a 0. But if you showed up for the test, you biffed it, you get a chance to do a retake, you get an extra chance to study more, then that can only help you, not hurt you. If, however, you are absent on the day of a test and you're doing a test makeup, there are no do-overs for people who are doing test makeups. Let me repeat that. You can't redo a test if you came back to class and you're doing the test as a makeup exam. There are lots of quizzes in chemistry as well. While these are not eligible for retakes, at the end of the semester, I tell the grading program to drop the lowest approximately 3 quizzes. So that's another way I try to help you succeed. So testing is very important. This next policy I've alluded to before, but I post grades online in eSchool. At the worst case scenario, they get updated every few weeks, typically after we take a unit exam. And do not, to repeat, do not use the online eSchool grades to keep track of if you're missing any makeup work. Go back and review the makeup work section on the previous page. When you turn in your work, I don't bring the papers home to grade. They go from the classroom into my office in the back room and they return to you. So I never lose papers, and I know that sounds weird. I don't lose papers. You might not have your name on it. Maybe it got stuck to the staple on another person's paper, but it walks 20 feet to the back room and it comes back 20 feet to the classroom. So make sure that you turn in your work into the correct box and your name is on it, because the no-name papers go in the no-name box, and I'll put them out there. You have to prove to me that's your paper. Please don't try to claim somebody else's paper, because that would be considered cheating, and I'll give you a double 0 on that. So I'm kind of finicky about some things, but I'm very fair on a lot of things. So keep in mind, missing a test day is not great, but if you are going to take a test and you don't do well on it, D or worse, you have the option for a retake that can only help you but not hurt you. Make sure you initial there that you understand how to access your grades online and that you're not going to use eSchool to keep track of what you might have missed. Finally, I'm huge on acting ethically at all times. It's kind of a personal sense of responsibility and accountability that you have to have about your own learning. So, chemistry is a hard class. A lot of you are on the college prep track, and sometimes you feel overwhelmed and you resort to copying or cheating as a way to cope. And that's simply not fair. As the youngest of 4 girls, I take the issue of equity very seriously. And I want you to develop as an ethical human being. So during group work, everybody's expected to participate. Lab partners will be completing their own individual lab reports unless I tell you otherwise. Sometimes it's a group effort. But if I see any last-minute copying of another person's thoughts or efforts, that is totally not acceptable for a lab partner. You simply cannot learn chemistry unless you do the work. Unfortunately, if you knowingly give another person your paper to copy, you also will lose points for that assignment. And if you are involved in cheating on a quiz or a test or a project, there'll be a conference. You're going to get at least a 0, if not a double 0. I refer all incidents of cheating to the assistant principal, and I notify parents. So this could have a really dramatically negative impact on your grade. This is not a strategy that you want to employ. So all the time, if you find yourself acting responsibly, behaving ethically, and making the appropriate choices, you're going to be fine in chemistry. You're going to be successful. So take a moment to initial by those ethics policies, and we'll wrap up here. You should now be done with both sides of the classroom policies handout. You will turn in the initial copy to me on the assigned due date. Keep the other copy for yourself so you can refer to it to know what to do if you were absent or missed a test. And now, when you feel ready, take the online quiz on Moodle. It's easy. It'll be maybe 5-10 questions, true, false. There will be an assigned due date, but what's important is that there will also be a closing date on this quiz. So if you do not take this quiz by the assigned date, you will not be eligible for those 5 or 10 points of an easy true-false quiz. Good luck with that, and take time to review the handout and both podcasts if you'd like before you take that online quiz. Until next time.